I'm Troy Landry, and welcome to Mercury's Cook Your Catch. Today, I went in the swamps in the Chapelay Basin and caught a couple of sacks of fresh Louisiana crawfish. I'm gonna walk y'all through the steps of cooking them up, how we cook them at the Landry family, and a few little secrets I'm gonna share with y'all. So get ready, it's gonna be good. Look at these, Bell River crawfish. All across Louisiana, Texas, everybody wants Bell River crawfish. We take these traps. When I used to fish hard, I had about 2,000 of these out. You throw your bait, it comes between these two funnels, your bait, and then the crawfish smell that, they come, they get in there. Certain time of the year, these traps will catch 10, 15 pounds. You can catch crawfish almost all year, but they're best at this time of the year in the spring. They taste better, they're fat, they're shedding, they're growing, and I mean, this is the best time of the year to eat them. And what we do is I take my boat, and you see I put a screen on my lower unit here. I bondo that on there. With that screen on it, this Mercury becomes a four-wheel drive outboard motor. I can go anywhere in this much water or 10 feet of water, it don't matter. I got a strong reverse. It gets rough, you can see I broke all this up. You see my cavitation plate here is all broken. My propeller's been all bent up. I don't babysit nothing. If it can't handle it, I'm gonna find something else. And I've been using these motors for years and years now because they're so tough and reliable. And over here at the Landry home, we don't just cook our catch. We like to cook it and eat it. Can't you tell? We like to cook and eat our catch. Woo, look at them pretty things. Whoa, whoa. You need the claws on that big rascal. That's a big male. Come like May and June, they're gonna get bigger. They're gonna be twice that size. And this is a big mature female. You see her claws, how much smaller? There's a lot of controversy these days about purging your crawfish. Purging them is when you're just cleaning them. You put water, we're gonna fill these up with water and let them swim around and they spit out the bait. They'll poop and get all that nasty stuff, about 30 or 40% of it out of them. People ask me all the time, you put salt when you purge your crawfish? I don't put salt. To me, it's a waste of salt. I tried with and without putting salt, and there's no difference. I let them soak for half an hour in water. I change my water. A true purge, if you're gonna sell them to a restaurant as purged crawfish, or if you wanna purge them for your family, and you want them cleaned out, you need to purge them for 24 hours. That's a true purge. And you don't put no salt. When you purge them in a water tank for 24 hours, you don't put no salt. We go through them and we take the dead ones out before we cook them. But if you miss one or two after they cook, the tail, instead of being curled up like that, the tail is straight. That tells you he was dead before you cooked him. God, look at that big old soft crawfish. Damn. It's a shame to waste that. Turtles are gonna eat them. We're gonna throw the dead ones in the little bayou right there, and the turtles are gonna come to eat the crawfish. Then we'll put a turtle line out and we'll catch the snapping turtle and cook that for supper. You see, you gotta always be thinking ahead of the game. You always gotta be thinking ahead. While I'm washing the crawfish, Jake's over here getting things ready. Some people put different things in their crawfish bowl. Over here, we like to keep it kind of simple. We put onions and potatoes and corn. Throw a few mushrooms in there. The women like mushrooms. I mean, I've seen everything in crawfish bowl. Weenies and garlic, and you can put celery, and you can put anything. Asparagus, broccoli. And a little bit of everything. My brother Ricky and his wife makes this, and they sell it all over the country. It's very, very good. Once you start using it, you're gonna continue to use it. And you put this, you got some lemon instead of, we don't have fresh lemon, so we put some lemon salt, and we can put this in your dip. That's damn good stuff. Damn good stuff. That's my little brother and his wife make that. And this is, to me, the very important ingredient, one of the most important ingredients in all right here. Cajun Chef is the best. It's got an awesome flavor. It's real thick. It's hot sauce, but it's really not that hot.
Got flavor.
It has a real good flavor. I put it on potato chips. I love it.
It's time to light the pot.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at all them pretty crawfish and all this stuff here. All right, go ahead. One of them I wasn't looking at got my little finger.
What we just put in there, can't go wrong. Smell it. Smell that we got enough seasoning in there.
I taught my boys, all of them, how to ball crawfish and catch crawfish, and they argue saying who got the best, but they all learned from their daddy. So
They always call me to cook them whenever they want to have a cookout, so that should tell you something.
he don't drink as much beer, so we know they're gonna come out better if he cook them. We drink a lot and we get carried away.
The water's back up to a rolling boil. We have the seasoning in there.
There's a while you put your seasoning,
Yeah.
10-15 minutes.
So it's done broke down and whatnot, and the water's rolling, so it's time to put the crawfish in and bring them back up to a bowl, just like you see it here.
You all in?
Yep.
Got them all? All right, now we can crank up the fire a little bit. We got natural gas here, but if you don't have natural gas, you can take a burner similar to that with propane. But if you don't have a propane burner and you want to cook just a little mess, cook them on your stove. Whoa, that sounded a lot better. Now that Jacob just turned the fire off, they all floating. There's no juice inside them. The meat is dry. They were boiling.
But as the water temperature starts to cool down, the meat's gonna shrink and it's gonna pull the juices and flavors in, and you're gonna notice they're gonna start to slowly sink.
If you pull these crawfish out right now and try them, they won't have barely any flavor. You'd say, oh, I didn't put enough seasoning. It's gonna take at least 30 minutes. They're gonna get real juicy, and that's when they're gonna have the best flavor.
Some of them are already starting to sink,
Some of them are already starting to go down.
but they're going down slowly.
And after about 30 to 40 minutes, they all gonna go down.
Even if you have a small pot at home and you're doing it in your backyard, it's the same method. When you turn that fire off, stir them. You can spread outside the pot with water to cool that water down, but do not pull them out no less than 30 minutes after you turn the fire off.
If you got old people or little kids that don't like a lot of seasoning, you might want to pull a few out before 30 minutes. You might want to try a few at 15 minutes. They won't be as spicy. If I took your bowl out right now, and I took you another bowl out 10 minutes from now, and I took you another bowl out 30 minutes from now, all three would have a different taste. And they will all cook with the exact same ingredients, cook for the exact same amount of time. The only thing, we're not letting them soak as long. You can see they're already slowly starting to go down. You can wet the pot, some people put ice in it, or you can just stir them. The more you stir them, you take turns. You know, you got 5 or 6 people at a crawfish bowl, I stir for 5-10 minutes, he stir, and they're always moving and the water's getting cooled down. You know, as long as I remember going back, you know, my dad and my grandpa and all, we'd get together, the whole family. Everybody would pile up at somebody's house in the backyard and have a big old crawfish bowl, a shrimp bowl, a crab. My grandpa used to have 2 shrimp bowls. So that's all we ever done. My mom has a picture of my great-grandma and grandpa, my great-grandma and grandpa, sitting under a big oak tree at their house in Pierreport here in the 1950s with a table full of ball crawfish. That's all you had around here. You know, my grandma and them were 18 kids growing up in the Depression. You think they ate anything? What? Imagine having 18 kids to feed in the time of the Depression, living in the swamps of South Louisiana. That's all they did was hunt and fish, not for fun, to survive. That's what they ate, turtles and crawfish and crabs. And In South Louisiana, they were very fortunate. There's an abundance of seafood and wild game, and that's how they survived. If we'd have had something like this when I was young, I'd have sank the boat so many times, it didn't make sense. We could catch so much seafood, so much. But we had wooden boats, you had to be careful, you had to go slow not to bust the boat. We didn't have big motors, and we always got second-hand motors. We couldn't afford to buy no new motor. We always had something hand-me-down from somebody else. But we made it. There's most probably 3 things that you should never do when you're making a ball. Number 1, don't over-salt it. You don't need a lot of salt at all. Number 2, I would say a common mistake that I see a lot of people make is they overcook. See, soaking is, the longer you leave them soaked, the better they're gonna taste, but boiling them, you overboil them. 2 to 3 minutes. As soon as your water gets to a good rolling ball, you can tell a joke or something and then turn them off. 2 or 3 minutes max. And number 3, third biggest mistake a lot of people make when they're cooking in their backyard is they drink too much. They get drunk and they don't remember what they're doing.
That's happened before.
Quite a few times. Let me check one of these mushrooms. I hate for my kids to eat these mushrooms and get sick. You know what I'm saying? Look at here. It's been about 35 minutes. All you see is the corn and a few mushrooms. No more crawfish. Crawfish all sank. I tell you, they're full of juice, they're full of flavor, they're ready to get out. Holy smoke! Look at that. God! See this onion? This is bad for your health. I wouldn't eat that. Don't eat that stuff. We're gonna put them in this Yeti ice chest, and Jacob's gonna sprinkle a little bit of hot sauce on them, and then we're gonna steam them for a few minutes.
We just sprinkle a little bit every scoop.
You smell that hot sauce? With that steam from them hot crawfish, you smell it? It's like a smell like you never smelled before, right? You smell that? And not just the smell is there, but the flavor. You know, there's 25 different ways to boil crawfish, and everybody got their own way, but this is our way. This is the way we like it. And we had a restaurant at one time, we'd cook 100 sacks a night of these things, and we never had no complaint. The only time people would complain would be when we'd run out. Ooh, that looked good. Close that up and shake them up a little bit. That's gonna steam them. We'll leave them in there for about 10 or 15 minutes. That's why you need a real good ice chest, because if you don't, they warp, they bend in, the lid don't close. We've been using this ice chest for the last 6 or 7 years, and if we'd have had a cheap ice chest, we'd have needed 6 or 7 ice chests in the last 6 or 7 years. That's the difference. We caught them, we cooked them, and now we're gonna enjoy them. We're gonna have a little sample, Jacob and I, while we're waiting on the rest of the family to get here.
Just right.
They good, Jake?
Mm-hmm.
I just like to put a little ketchup in this and a little bit of vinegar. Oh, mais ça c'est bon. Oh, look at these beautiful crawfish. Look at that. Little baby lobsters. C'est bon?
A lot of people peel crawfish different ways. The most common way is just like to pinch the tail all the way down before you break it away from the head. You see all that fat and everything in there. And then you can peel a layer or two away from it, makes it easier. And then you go ahead and pinch at the very end of the tail and it pulls right off. And then you can remove, some people don't like the tops, you can remove the tops and the pouline, whatever you want to call it. And then that's it. That's all she wrote. Now the way I like to do it is I just pinch it before, pop it off, grab it with my teeth, and as I pinch, I pull the whole thing out. I eat the vein and everything. God made dirt, dirt don't hurt.
I like to take my time and, how do you say that? Savor the moment. I like to savor the moment. Savor the moment. You're good, Jake. You did a good job. Hey!
Look at the birthday girl. We had to make sure they were good.
We wanted to test them for y'all.
I hope they're good.
What you think, Pop? I went crawfishing this morning, Mama. Yeah, in Bell River right there, and that was it. Came back, we bought them. We're doing a cook your catch. Catch something and you cook it. Cook your catch.
Oh, are you sure they cook your potato?
But
It's hard like rock.
you don't do it all, huh?
I don't have nothing left.
Here, take my spot, Mom. You sit down, you and Pop sit right there.
I went early, I didn't catch that much.
Daylight we left.
Your son catch nothing but the big stuff. You don't think I'll go out there and catch them little babies?
Boy, you can do that. Yeah.
Now y'all seen the Landry version of cook your catch. We don't just cook the catch, we eat the catch.
Good job, boy. Good job.
You good?
Very good.